The old people of the village still refuse to say his name after sunset. They say it's safer that way. Long before the roads reached our land, when the forests swallowed light and the rivers whispered like spirits, there lived a man no one wanted. He had no father, no mother, only a leaking hut at the edge of the village and a hunger that never left him. They did not call him by name. They called him the leftover. He survived on what the land forgot, fallen fruits, trapped animals, scraps no one claimed. Sometimes, when laughter drifted from the village square, he would sit in the shadows and watch others dance, watch mothers pull their children close. No one ever called him closer. Years passed, but nothing changed. Hunger stayed, loneliness deepened, and something else began to grow inside him, something quiet, patient, and listening. Then came the dry season. The earth split open. Rivers shrank into muddy scars. Even the wind felt thin and restless. It was during this time the king announced a hunting expedition into the forbidden forest, the one elders warned about in lowered voices. The one that did not like to be entered. The king was proud, stubborn, eager to prove that fear was for lesser men. His warriors followed, beating drums that echoed into the trees. The man watched from a distance. He knew that forest. It didn't sound like a forest. It listened. By sunset, the drums had stopped. By morning, only silence returned. Days passed. No king, no warriors. The village trembled under the weight of it. Elders spoke of old things, things that wore faces, things that fed on pride and followed the living back home. No one dared to enter. Except the man no one wanted. He carried only a dull knife and a body that had already learned how to survive abandonment. As he stepped beneath the canopy, the world shifted. Sound vanished. Even his breathing felt che-u-je, like something else was trying to match it. The deeper he went, the more the forest pressed in. Watching. Waiting. Then he heard it. A voice. Weak cracked. Help me. He followed it until he found the king, slumped against a twisted tree, his royal cloth torn, his skin marked with dark patterns that moved when not directly seen. But something was wrong. The king's shadow stretched the wrong way. The man stopped. He had heard stories like this. Stories no one finished telling. Don't come closer, the king rasped. But his lips did not move. The voice came from behind him. Slowly, the man turned. Another king stood there. Identical. Same wounds, same face, same voice. Only this one smiled. And his shadow had no head. Help me, both said at once. The forest leaned in, as if the trees themselves were listening for his choice. The man did not rush. He watched. Waited. Listened. The smiling king's tongue slipped out, just once tracing dry lips. Hungry. That was enough. The man moved without hesitation. He seized a burning branch from the remains of a fallen torch and drove it forward, not at the broken king, but at the smiling one. The fire touched its skin, and it screamed. Not like a man. Something deeper, older, wrong. Its body unfolded in impossible ways, joints bending where joints should not exist. Its skin peeled like soaked cloth, revealing something hollow beneath, something filled with shifting eyes that blinked out of rhythm with the world. The forest screamed with it. Branches shook, the ground trembled. But the man did not run. He pushed the flame deeper. Held it there. Watched it burn. The thing collapsed into ash that did not scatter, as if even the wind feared touching it. Silence returned. The real king lay shaking, his shadow now whole again. The man helped him to his feet. Together, slowly, they left the forest. When they returned, the village erupted in disbelief and celebration. The king, humbled and shaken, declared the man a hero. He was given food, clean clothes, and a place within the palace walls. For the first time in his life, he was seen. But something had changed. At night, servants whispered. They said the man did not sleep. They said he stood in corners where light could not reach, staring into spaces that seemed to breathe back at him. Watching. Listening. One guard swore he heard him speaking softly. Not to anyone in the room, but to his shadow. And the shadow replied. At first, it was dismissed as fear. The forest had unsettled everyone. But then the king fell ill. Dark markings spread across his skin, the same shifting patterns from the forest. They moved when no one looked directly at them. Doctors failed. Prayers failed. Nothing answered. One night, the king awoke to a presence at the foot of his bed. The man stood there, still, smiling. "Do you remember," he asked quietly, "which one you followed out of the forest?" The king tried to scream, but his voice came from behind him. By morning, the man was gone. The king was found lifeless, his shadow stretching in the wrong direction. And deep within the forbidden forest, where the trees grow too close and the air listens too carefully, two figures are sometimes seen standing side by side. Both smiling, both waiting, both hungry. And those who claim to have seen them always argue about one thing: how many shadows stood at their feet. That is why, when night falls, the elders lower their voices. And they never, ever say his name.